possibilities, infinite mastery, and infinite love. Mind-expanding, heart-opening conversations with some of the greatest spiritual teachers, infinite mastery, healers, and infinite love. Usher in mind-expanding, heart-opening conversation heart. Quantum Conversations is brought to you by AcousticHealth.com, home of music from the universe, online healing retreats, and this program. Claim your free registration to daily shows at AcousticHealth.com. AcousticHealth.com, your portal to the inner realms. Our program starts shortly. Welcome to another Quantum Conversation, brought to you by AcousticHealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and I invite you to sit back as we enter the quantum realm, that space of the greater part of you. It is your connection to infinite possibilities, infinite potential, and infinite mastery. Welcome to this Quantum Conversation. I invite you to sit back as we hear from my guest today, who is a medical intuitive healer, and she is on a mission to help people get over their chronic issues. And particularly in our experience, when we are ready to create new earth creations and we still feel that resistance, what is that? We're going to explore that today as we meet Eleanor Healy. Eleanor, thank you for being here. Welcome to Quantum Conversations.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to connect with your audience and you today.
We are so grateful that you are here. You're going to offer an interaction with our viewers and our listeners today. So those with questions about anything that comes up to stops them, if that's a health issue, a chronic health issue, or even just issues that keep us from really being unstoppable. And that's our focus today. So thank you so much for that. I always love talking about your personal story because that is where the magic occurs. That is where truth happens for you, and then that becomes your mission. So for you, this is based on something in your own life, a healing that you had to get to the bottom of, and it led you to this work today. So share with us your story.
Yes, I'd be happy to. So first of all, I just want to let everyone know who's listening, whether it's live or the replay, that there is actually energy that I work with, source energy that is flowing through the call, and it's there for you to access at any time. So if you want to just take a deep breath and inhale and embrace that energy as we go along, it's going to help you to really receive the information and the healing and teachings that I'm offering today. So for my story, I work with people who have, as Loren was saying, who have long-term health issues and they can't figure out why they can't bring about a resolution. And that's where I come in. And like I said, my work is based on the connection to source energy and my own journey and what I've overcome and actually who I've become. That's really the key here. And this journey is part of my teaching. So I was, it's pretty typical for a lot of listeners and people who are attracted to this show. I was a very sensitive child and grew up in a very volatile and emotionally explosive environment. And as you can imagine, over time, I took on these emotions and I wasn't able to process them. So they became, the way you can think of it is like lodged in the body and my cells as stuck energy. And then physical problems started to manifest. So I had very intense digestive issues. It was after years and years of testing, diagnosed as irritable bowel syndrome, which is quite prevalent today. It was a very painful and debilitating condition, and my skin was, I had chronic acne and I wasn't able to get rid of that. And then also to sort of, the icing on the cake was this chronic anxiety that was just always with me, and it would get to, points that were very debilitating as well. And at the time, I really had no connection to my emotions. And as I was, before I really got into the root causes, I had no connection to my body. But I just, over time, began to feel worse and worse. And so it was sort of this dichotomy where I was less and less connected, but feeling worse and worse and kind of spiraling into this miserable feeling. And so I was doing everything I could at the time to, clutch at certain things to try to self-medicate. And it was, toxic relationships and alcohol and all kinds of sort of addictions around that to just try and make myself feel better. And at the same time, I was doing, the typical, the medical, things like antibiotics and medications and things for my skin, for my digestion. And then I decided, okay, I'm going to try the natural side of things. So this is the progression. I had tried all the medical stuff, and, I'm not saying anything is wrong with the medical system. If you feel that you want to take the medications, I'm just giving you my journey. So I did those things, and I decided I'll go into the natural side of things. So I became a Reiki master. I became a holistic nutritionist. I did energy healing on myself. I had a clean diet. So the list gets longer and longer. Basically, cue everything but the kitchen sink I was doing. I was cleansing and detoxing, and so my lowest point was really when I had, after 15 years of this, when I had tried everything and I still had major digestive disorders. My skin was still a mess, and I had debilitating anxiety. This is when I pretty much gave up hope, and I remember having a conversation with my aunt and saying, what will I do? What if I can't fulfill my purpose? What if this is it? What if I'm just meant to be sort of like a vegetable and I'm not going to be able to really do anything or accomplish anything in my life? And that was my lowest point. So I decided I'm going to, go to a friend of mine who is a healer. And I went to him and I was telling him about my anxiety. And he gave me the bad news, in quotes, of I hadn't dealt with my traumas. I hadn't actually healed my stuck emotions. And, this is where, if you're listening, you may be triggered by this, as I was very triggered at the time. It was sort of like, what are you talking about? I'm a healer. I'm a counselor. I've been doing this for years. I've been using energy. I've been healing for years and years, and I've done everything. And basically, if we still have our condition, if we're still kind of suffering from it and we haven't transformed from it, it's because we haven't gotten into those underlying causes. And what I knew to be the truth was that I had been avoiding certain things. I had been avoiding certain emotions and certain traumas in my childhood and things that I really didn't want to deal with. So I was going around them and doing everything but that. And so after a time, you realize if I don't go there, if I don't go into the darkest corners, I'm never going to be transformed. And so that's what I started to do. And I empowered myself, and I transformed and became someone who experienced my health conditions and overcame them. So I can now pass on, the gold from it. And that's what I call the true connection and self-mastery. So I don't really have to experience those symptoms anymore because I've learned from them and I've let my, what I call the true self, take over, and I'm living my soul purpose because I now help others go through this, what I refer to as this, lighthearted reunion back to themselves. And that's really the journey that I work with and the transformational type of process that I take other people through now.
Well, that is so beautiful. Would you care to share what some of those what emotions you were avoiding? Mm-hmm. Were you able to determine what those were and how they manifested in health?
Yes. So it was a bit, like a lot around my family relationships, around boundaries, the traumatic relationship that I had at the time with my father and also my mother, and forgiveness, and hanging on to all of those, like the resentment, the anger, being in what they call victimhood, which is really just sort of having your emotions dictate how you live your life, in a sense, is how you can think of it, instead of actually transforming it into being in your power. Once you bring those things to the surface and you actually forgive those people and you forgive yourself and you open up the pain and you let it release from the body, then the physical body no longer has to hold that memory and the trauma of that and that energy. And then therefore the physical body is given all of the life force energy to be able to come into balance, if that makes sense.
Yes. Okay, it's allowing the energy to flow because it's emotions literally stuck in the cells.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So were they emotions of anger or
yes,
unworthiness?
a lot of anger. And so here's one of the indicators that if you're listening, you can sort of check in for yourself right now. Is it's usually the emotions or the things that are not acceptable in our family system, or that were shamed or we weren't allowed to express, become the most deeply buried and embedded in the body. So for me, it was anger. It was like other people were allowed to express that in the family, but I was not allowed to. And, there was also a lot of shame around having anger. And I'd also wanted to distance myself as far as possible from the people that I felt were, that I was very angry at. So it's funny how it went around in the circle. I was like, well, I don't like the way they're acting. I don't want to be anything like them. And therefore, I'm just going to disconnect from all anger that I feel. And so then it becomes, deeply buried, instead of allowing it to process through and saying, I accept the fact that I felt very angry. I was, I'm allowing these emotions to come up. Instead, I said, no, I'm not an angry person. I am a nice person. I'm a good person. So I went into the, I'm a good girl. I'm a good girl. I'm nothing like them. So we could either have a reaction to other people and saying, I want to be nothing like them, or we could also go into sort of the shadow where we become like the people who had, sort of tormented us, I guess, in a way is the easiest way to say it, or affected us the most. So those are kind of two. And then the more we spiral around those kind of patterns, either trying to avoid or becoming aligned with it somehow, is what really creates the biggest imbalance in the body. And those energies go further into our physical experience and start to manifest as physical things. And also this includes mental things. So, anxiety, negative thoughts, depressive kinds of feelings, feeling low self-worth. These are all included in what I'm talking about right now.
Yes, okay. So you are on a mission to really help people get to the bottom of their chronic issue. Mm-hmm. So as you were able to, what was that transformation like when you did this deep inner work and you unraveled it and you saw those emotions and those feelings? How did that open you up to this greater calling? I mean, talk about expansion when we no longer get in our own way.
Yes, I mean, it's a mix of a lot of things. It's sometimes, sadness when we feel, oh, this is what I've been missing, sort of missing ourselves, missing that connection to ourselves. And then I moved into this great joy. So it was a huge heart opening, and some people talk about the heart awakening. That's definitely what I went through. And I felt my heart expanding in this huge way, and to the point where I would, cry from joy, whereas, I would never cry at all, when I was younger. So to actually experience my heart opening to the point where I was able to cry from joy, like those romance novels, it was like, this is amazing. This is how it feels when we're allowing all of our emotions to, expand and to experience them within our body, to allow them to flow without grasping them, without pushing them away, without, wrestling with them, just allowing them to be. And so my relationships in my life changed. I resolved the issues with my parents. I have a loving relationship with them today. I mean, it's just been almost like a miraculous change, actually. And just feeling that sense of really knowing myself and being in what I call my true self to the point where I can actually be of service. Whereas before I was, what they call a hot mess, I was not able to be of service in any way. So yeah, that's kind of, I mean, the changes have been huge, and I just keep expanding more and more and feeling more connected to myself and my abilities in terms of being able to tune in, and my psychic abilities and healing abilities have grown exponentially from the fact that I'm now very much grounded in my own energy.
Yes, that is mastery. Mm-hmm. Grounding in our own energy, being very aware of it. Mm-hmm. So many of us on this journey are at different levels. Mm-hmm. I don't even want to use that word level. Different stages of the path, and it is its own unique journey. But along that journey, I mean, it's simple. We do this. We go deep within. We love ourselves, and we just watch where others can affect us and the courting. And so your mission now is to really assist people get to the bottom of it. When they do, they are then the masters of their life. So how do you do that? We could take some examples from our listeners. I know that you do sessions that go deep and in length, but how would you do that with someone? Do you want to share an overview of that?
Yes. So the process is like working with me specifically would be I'm able to see the energy in the body. I can see where it's stagnant and slow moving, and so I'm directed to an area in the body where that person is holding the most damaging energy. So it's whatever needs to be released at this time to create the greatest transformation. And so that's where I'm directed to go. And then when I see the area of the body and I see this energy, I'm also told what is the emotional theme behind it? What is the underlying belief pattern, wound that is there that's actually creating a pattern that person is spinning around, and it keeps showing up in their outside circumstances. So when something is lodged in the body, it's like it creates a mirror of reflection in our life. And so we keep being drawn back to this pattern. So for example, if you have something like I'm not a good person and is somewhere in the body system, it will keep showing up out in our outside circumstances again and again and again. And this is how we see the theme and the pattern. So I locate the most, the deepest rooted thing and the most damaging thing. And then I bring it to your awareness consciously. And I help you to open up that energy, start unraveling it, and look at, okay, this is actually a lifelong pattern that I see in front of me. And then I help you to start to dissolve and pull out and release that energy from the body so the body can have this freedom and expansion to let go of that. And then it no longer needs to show up in your outside circumstances because it's been removed from your system. And this also creates an expansion in your awareness. So the process is really about becoming radically self-aware of everything that's gone on, and then moving into self-acceptance. That is definitely important, because the more we know about ourselves, if we uncover things, it's definitely not, life-affirming and expansive if we say, oh, I know all this about myself and now I'm going to beat myself up, blame myself, reject myself, so you have to go from the awareness into self-acceptance. And then the last part of the process is true self-connection. So being connected to who you really are and, the life you're meant to live and who you're meant to be, and being more connected to that, like I was saying, grounded in your energy. So the process today that I would be able to do is like just read the energy, where it is in the body, what's kind of one of the most damaging patterns that's running in the body, and bring it to your awareness. And then with the energy that's working today, it will actually help to start unraveling it and dissolving it. And after the call, they'll probably have more and more aha moments, like I said, as the energy opens up. So 2 caveats I tell people is, because what I sense is very subconscious, and it also can be from early childhood, I ask people to just be very open to the messages they're getting, because it may not immediately make sense. So just be willing to hear and receive the information as much as possible. And if it doesn't make sense right away, it will definitely make sense as it starts to unravel and open up.
That's a very good point, right? The mind will try to get in the way, but just stay open as it unravels.
Yes.
Well, I think it would be beautiful to get right to some experiences with people to watch you in action.
Absolutely.
That would be really good. I first want to say that there is someone who sent in a question over our Q&A, and this is someone who's dealt with health issues for over 40 years. Please tell me your name. I would like to share your story with Elinor, so please type in again your name, please. I know that will help Elinor as we connect with you. Okay. Well, I just want to say a comment from Cece. She says that, wow, Elinor has described my life. Good to know I was not the only one that went through what I went through and the anger that I felt.
Yes.
Okay. Very good. Ursula. Okay, this is over our Q&A. We've got some callers on the phone as well. Here's Ursula, a question over our chat. She too says, your story sounds so much like mine. I'm hoping that I'm coming out the other side. I feel that I am. I have been releasing so much toxicity. And yesterday I took part in the Lemurian Heart Temple meditation, which took me into the I am love energy, and I really feel the difference. Well, that's beautiful, Ursula. So Ursula says, can you see if a body has been cleared? I would love to know if that is true. I'm tired of spinning.
So is she asking me to tune into her, or just is that a kind of a general question?
I think tune into her body.
Yeah. Okay. So the one thing that comes through immediately as an intuitive message for her is that when we clear things and when we release energy, it's gone for good. So I think what she has is a fear that, something's going to be cleared and then it's going to come back again. So that's something that the mind will kind of spin around in terms of a fear and say, I let go of that, and what if it comes back again? We're never in the same place at the same time. Once something's been cleared, it's been cleared for good. So that's the first thing. We're always at a different level, so you can think of a spiral. We're always spiraling and up-leveling ourselves, so we're not comparing ourselves to others. We're just comparing ourselves to our own journey. So even if you come around to something that looks similar, you're always in a different space and more evolved when you do come upon it. So let me see what I'm getting into. So I was directed to sort of the second chakra area and around the pelvis, and hearing, I'm not allowed to be feminine. So something around the way she was raised, it was like not acceptable to really be in your feminine, and she had to sort of push that aside. And so the energy I'm seeing is sitting in the pelvis. And so, as I said, the energy that we're working with today, if you want to receive that, you can just affirm you want to receive this energy and take in a deep breath and just allow it to come in and start to bring that truth to the surface, that you were stopped from being really in your feminine, and start to do things that actually activate that. So, moving your hips and Even having a hula hoop is an excellent way to really get into the feminine energy and allow it to flow.
Okay, beautiful. Ursula, please share if you have any feedback on that. We'd always love to hear. Okay, we'll come back to some questions over our chat. Let's go to our phone line because I really love to hear people's responses as well. We're going to Veronica in New Zealand. Hi, Veronica.
Yes, hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
We can.
Hi. Oh, great. Excellent. Hello. Thanks for choosing me. I have been having, for the last 8 years, a bit of constipation off and on. And I haven't been able to shake it. I've tried various things, as well as emotional release. And yeah, I don't seem to get to the bottom of it.
Okay, yes, absolutely. So you probably have heard a little bit about, how I work. We'll just be open to messages, and I'm going to see where there may be some stagnant energy in the body. And again, it's not always connected to exactly the area that we are feeling the conditions. So let me just tune here. I was actually directed to your back, your upper back, and hearing I'm a burden and I'm not able to carry this load. So it's a sense of not only feeling like you've been given too much responsibility in life, but that it's just been too much to hold on to, too much to carry. Does that make any sense to you?
Yes, it's quite possible. I've been having quite a bit of achy shoulders as well. So yeah, I've always used to have that.
And so when you think back to growing up, did you feel like there was a lot of responsibility put on your shoulders, so to speak?
In some ways, yeah. Yeah,
so that's
probably more, I don't know whether it's just myself putting a burden on myself rather than it actually being put on me. I'm not, yeah.
Yeah, so what happens is we'll start to get a belief based on, it could be, an unspoken feeling within the family or just a sense of something being communicated to you, not necessarily spoken to you verbally. And then you kind of take that belief in, like that you're a burden, and then you start to react and, like you said, start putting that pressure within yourself and onto yourself. Because it's sort of become this belief system for you. So the way to actually start to unravel that is to look at, start journaling about what that means to you, feeling like a burden and having too much responsibility, and start asking yourself, where am I feeling this responsibility and where did it come from? And also you can receive the energy today. As I said, just breathe it in. And it's going to start helping you loosen up that energy in your upper back. So you may be feeling, now sensations or tingling or heat. So just allow that energy to come through and help you loosen up the emotional energy that's trapped in the back. And that's connected to the constipation. So when I first tune in, I always ask for what needs to be transformed in terms of what you're struggling with right now. So there is a connection there to the constipation.
That's good. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. That kind of makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Thank you, Veronica. Anything else?
I think that's all for now. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. It is amazing to see how you pinpoint, you went right to the back, you intuited the back, and she said, hey, I have shoulder issues. So what do you see? What is that like for you? Do you feel that in your body? Are you seeing her body in front of you?
It's as a combination. So I will feel it in my own body. I will also see energy patterns. And then I'm also told things. So I have, I hear messages. So I'm told, to go to the back, or I'm just directed. I will see sort of a outline of the body. So it's actually the etheric body that I'm directed to, and not so much the physical body, because everything starts in the etheric body and starts to migrate into the physical. So I'm directed to the etheric body, which is where we actually change everything from. And then told, sort of a map of what the body, and pinpointing sort of the area. And then I'm told by, I just hear what that theme is, what the emotion is. And it's really the person's subconscious that's talking to me, or their higher self who's giving me the messages and giving me the information through source. So it's really that person's body and subconscious that is giving me the information, which I translate back to the person.
That is really cool. Okay. We're going to go to another question. And one from our audience is, and then another on our YouTube stream, is that what about long-term chronic health issues? Can they really be healed? And here's the one gal or the one person who has dealt with health issues for over 40 years. This person says, if the food we eat affects our pain, as it does in my circumstance, and we have physical injuries like a spinal cord injury and herniated discs, as I have as well, this person says, how can our bodies heal through our inner work and or other holistic ways? I do Reiki on myself and meditate on my body being healed and still suffer.
Yeah, it's a very good question. There's several pieces to that. So in terms of, can we actually heal and shift our chronic issues? Yes, absolutely. I will say, obviously, I can't really predict what someone's journey is going to be, but I have seen it, within myself and other people, being able to transform chronic issues and things like that. So I do know it is possible. It is always possible. It's just a matter of, what our journey is and how it's going to show up for us. That's one thing, which is probably an unsatisfying answer for people. And then the second thing is, in order to actually shift out of being in a state of suffering and in a state of, having our illness dictate our life, the transformation really is who you become through your illness, who you start to become through your issues, how you show up in your life through the wisdom of your illness and what you're able to do from it as you transform and become who you're meant to be through that journey. That's a channeled message for you. That's something that I've also worked with in terms of information from the highest level, is really, it's who we become through our illness and who we become through our issues. That is the point, so to speak. That's the transformation. And when we're able to actually do what we're here to do through our experiences, that is the highest level. And a lot of times when we get to that point, like the self-mastery I was talking about, we no longer need to be in our suffering and in our pain and in our acute illness any longer. So hopefully that makes sense.
Yes, it does. Okay. All right. I hope that answers the question on that pain, and it provides us good insight into healing. And I just wanted to share, we had taken Ursula's question, and she types back and says, thank you. You have definitely touched on something. She says, I was raised by my father and within the Roman Catholic Church and sexually abused as a child. So I've always had deep shame about my feminine nature.
Yes. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of goosebumps there. So that really, really opened up a deep well of truth for her. So that's beautiful.
Again, that's amazing. Elinor, you are spot on. It's very sharp. Ursula says, I would be happy to finally release the shame and fear of my body. Maybe this is something we can do as a group level for the feminine. We know the feminine has been oppressed and ridiculed, or maybe we don't feel good about ourselves, or we feel less than from the media. This could be, and even for men, because this is an aspect too. Is there something you could do with this source energy and embracing this energy that would help us all release any shame or any fear or this dislike, distaste of our physical form?
Yes, I'm actually getting a couple of intuitive messages on how we can do this. So if anyone who wants to participate can just close their eyes and take a deep breath and tune into your body. And when I say the words, the feminine, the divine feminine, where do you feel that in your body? So if you're listening, just tune in and go to the place that you feel is activated when I say the divine feminine. And we're going to bring our awareness to this area and start to allow it to open up like a flower, to blossom. And in the safe space with this energy flowing through us, we are finally safe and able and willing and committed and devoted to opening up this divine feminine aspect to the next expansion. And so as I'm speaking, I'm helping you to open the energy, and through your own willingness and devotion to yourself and to the highest good of the planet, you're allowing this energy to unravel. And just if you feel anything releasing, whether it's tears, emotions, or it could be a beautiful, joyful, orgasmic experience, just let it be what it's going to be as it opens up and flowers for you. And knowing that as you're doing this, because we are all one, we are all doing this. And just keep allowing this energy to open up. And now we're going to let this new energy flow through the whole body and really permeate all the cells in the body to soak us in divine feminine energy and really allow this expression of ourselves that has been hidden for so long to come to the forefront. And just allow ourselves to bathe in this beautiful divine feminine energy and open up to this beautiful experience, knowing that as we open up to this energy, we can become who we are meant to be and more of who we are. And this means a balance of the masculine and the feminine. This is not opening the feminine to suppress the masculine. This is opening the feminine to integrate and to join and transform with the masculine in a balanced way. So just continue to let this open up, and you can open your eyes and just let the energy continue to flow. And I feel very flowy and beautiful. I don't know how you feel, Lauren.
Oh, it's really quite interesting. I felt that, of course. Well, for me, it was in my womb and the belly area. And then when I was allowing the energy, the back of my arm, the back of it would be the back side of the front rotator cuff, right there on the back side of my armpit, is like twitching. And so, it just started. So would that be the flow getting stuck?
Just the energy opening up. It's just, when you feel twitching and muscle twitching and tingling and all that, it's the energy is actually going to all of those places that were previously not, were, I guess, blocked, for lack of a better word. So it's like the energy is now able to go into every nook and cranny, every crevice, every cell, every area. I actually had that experience a few weeks ago. I've had it, something with my arm, and I'm sure it's connected to some old stuff that I'm releasing now. And I was in a yoga class, and I just felt all of a sudden all of this pulsating, and it was like energy pumping through this area that I hadn't felt really, that it was activated or even really alive for so long, for many, many years. And it was just this feeling of joy, like, wow, this energy is actually getting to these places now. So it's really a cause for celebration.
Hooray! It's a cause for celebration. I want to give some others cause for celebration by having you interface with them. Over on our YouTube live stream, Maria is in pain. I don't know if Maria can call in on the phone, or if you can just intuit for Maria about the pain that she is in. Let's see if I've got anything else I could give you. She says, I have been in pain for years now. Physical issues to be healed.
Okay, yeah, I can definitely see what I get here. So the first thing I was hearing is that pain is my identity. Pain is the way that she actually connects to her life force. So there's a sense that she has plugged into a belief or a pattern that says that pain is really the only thing that is showing her that she is alive, in the sense of her journey or her purpose, and that's what's coming through from her higher self. So it's a matter of unplugging from that pattern and that belief that she actually has to be in pain to be activated. This will maybe make sense to her. So just allow this energy. It's Maria, right? Yeah, allow this energy to move through her body, the source energy we're working with, and to allow her to find the place within herself where this pain has become her identity. And to ask herself, who would I be without this pain? Who am I without this pain? And journal on that and allow the energy to really unravel around that. And she's going to have a big breakthrough on that.
Thank you. Okay, Maria, we hope that helps. This is helpful for all of us when we go deep within and we unravel the emotions. We really have to sit with it and be patient with ourselves. How do you trust what comes up? Is it the still small voice? When you connect with your guides and when you listen inside, what are those voices like?
They're always peaceful and loving and calm, and the feelings of expansiveness and truth. So the truth resonates and kind of reverberates through my body. So I will get, my heart will sort of light up, or I'll get goosebumps, or I'll just feel this lightening inside me. And there's a lot of indicators. And you'll have your own. So everybody has their own way, their own feeling of yes, their own feeling of God or presence or source within them. And it's again, getting to know yourself. This whole conversation really is getting to know yourself on the deepest level and being open and willing to see all of yourself and accept all of yourself and be on this seeking journey. And to ask yourself the question, ask yourself, what is a yes for me, and what do I feel when my guides are talking to me? And just asking yourself and just having a conversation and deeply connecting with yourself. And then over time, what is a soft whisper becomes a very resounding kind of a yes, if that makes sense.
Yeah, very confident, very trustful. Very clear voice.
Clarity is the other thing. Yeah, very simple too. There's no complexity. And who's listening has probably heard this time and time again. The deepest spiritual truths are always the simplest. The most profound truths and breakthroughs are always the easiest, simplest thing. It's just our mind tries to say, it can't be that easy. Mm-hmm. It can't be that easy to make a choice. It can't be that easy to choose to live differently, or to choose to not let our illness take over our lives, or to, let go of the pain, or whatever it is. That's our mind says, there's no way it can be that simple.
Right?
It can. It can. Yeah. It really can.
Good. It can. It really can. Yeah. It really can. Okay. Oh, beautiful. All right. Lots of questions coming in. Maria. It could be Maria. It could be Marija. I believe it's Maria in Australia. She can't call in, but Maria, if you get on that link that I sent and you click it, you have an option to join by web call, and you may be able to we'll see you on web call. You type your name in, and I'll be able to unmute you. It's beautiful computer technology. We're kind of using lots of platforms on our show here. But Maria does say that she's got an L5 disc protrusion. So can you go into that any more before we move on?
Mm-hmm. So it's interesting how the experiences we have can be metaphors, or sort of like literal metaphors. So I was hearing that there's a feeling of being displaced and lost in a sense. And this is really showing up in the body as the spine, like the disc. Mm-hmm. And so it's a sense if she can connect into and do some grounding exercises, and to affirm to herself that she's safe and that she's home. That's another thing that I really teach people, is how to ground into their energy so they can feel at home, so they know that sense of belonging is within themselves. And so what I'm feeling with her is this feeling of being lost and displaced. So if she really does the kind of grounding meditations and connecting to her inner self, she's going to feel more at home in her own body, which is the transformation that will help her.
Okay, beautiful. Maria, we hope that helps you. Okay. Well, we hear from Lori. Lori would like to have some help identifying where low self-worth originates.
Sorry, what's her name again?
Lori.
Lori. So for Lori specifically, I was seeing energy down the side of the torso, both sides of the torso, and hearing like I'm a prop. So it's a sense of, I've heard this before, where in childhood or growing up, it's a feeling like they're in the middle of a drama and that they're just being used as a pawn, I guess is another word, and that they're not actually seen for who they are and not valued for who they are. They're just being used as a pawn in a drama. So that's what I was seeing, and she's welcome to receive the energy to help start unraveling that energy in the sides, and to journal about where she's felt like she's being used in her life and how she can start releasing that pattern.
Great, thank you. We hope that helps, Lori. And so obviously these are such little mini readings, mini intuits that you offer. when you're in a personal session, one is available in your special offer. We thank you for that, and we invite those who really resonate with your work and want this insight in their life to connect with you and take advantage of your special offer. What goes on in a personal session?
Yeah, so there's a lot of very deep work. We start with, reading I do the reading on their body in terms of the energy, where it's showing up, what long-term patterns and beliefs and wounds need to be shifted the most for their greatest transformation. So we start there, and I'm guided to give them, the information, bring whatever needs to be brought to their conscious awareness as to why they're not shifting, why they're stuck, what is causing them to spin around in circles, and not be able to get past that real sticking point. That's really my specialty. And so we start there with the reading of the body, and then I actually do a number of different energy healing techniques and some shamanic practices where we actually move the energy through the body, release it, and clear it from the body completely. And so this opens up a whole new experience, of course, where their energy field is, cleared out. And so that all of their life force energy can flow completely through the body, which means that their body is able to access what it needs to come into balance. So whether that's the physical conditions they have or the emotional, mental things that are going on. So we work with that. And I also do forgiveness work. There's a lot of emotional release that goes on. And again, I work with the principles I said in the beginning, where it's working on self-awareness, radical self-awareness, self-acceptance, and connecting to who they really are. So in that session, we, go through that process, and I'm guided by Source as to what techniques we need to use. And then I also give them tools for afterwards that they can work on for themselves and continue the work, because it's always, good if we become empowered to continue our own journey. I just give them the starting point and what has really been their biggest block, and then they go from there. So a lot goes on and gets shifted within one session.
That is really like you're putting someone on a springboard. When we are released of that baggage, it's like, boom, go forward and create, new inspiration comes in, downloads come in, clarity and soul purpose comes in.
Yes.
It's quite beautiful.
Absolutely, yes. And their relationship with themselves is really repaired on a deep level. I mean, that's been some of the biggest transformations and amazing the things that I've seen shift in people is really their relationship with themselves, because the people that mostly are attracted to my work have disconnected from themselves in some way, or become disconnected from, their body, their emotions, and their true self. So I reconnect them and help with this, reunion of their true self. And it's just an amazing and beautiful thing to witness when people actually do connect with themselves on the deepest level.
Yes, okay. This is what it means for transformation and doing the deep inner work. And as we know, this literally changes our world, and we cannot carry this with us. So we're clearing out all of that stuck energy that then can no longer block us.
Yes.
So here's a question coming in. How would one recognize if they have chronic anxiety?
Yeah, so anything that is chronic there's a couple of actually indicators. One is that you can't remember a time when you haven't felt like that. And it's just something that runs in the background. It's just part of your experience. And you can't remember a time when you weren't experiencing it. The second thing is you've also started to spend most of your time and energy managing it or interacting with it. So if the anxiety is chronic, it's just something you do. You get up and in the morning and you're like, well, I have to make sure that I do X, Y, Z before I go out because of this anxiety or because of how I feel. I can't drive down this road because it's too scary. Or, it's like you set up everything on a daily basis as to how to manage this experience. And the third thing is that it becomes part of our identity. It's like, I'm just like that, that's just the way I feel. I can't do that because of my anxiety, so those are some 3 pretty good, I'd say the main indicators to show you that you have a chronic issue around anxiety, or that it's really taken hold as a long-term pattern. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Okay. So it's really breaking these patterns and connecting to the true self and really letting source energy flow. Yes. So, okay, beautiful. We've got time for, I think, 2 more callers. Before we get there, though, I want to have you talk a little bit about the audio tools in your special offer. Those are energy encoded. Those are clearing and alignment audios. Tell us about those.
Yeah, so I really tuned in for what I wanted to figure out are the main sort of blocks and patterns that we come across in life and that really stop us, and that the major ones that are really pervasive and can be, categorized into different things. So the audios are all themed in terms of those type of blocks. So, for example, one of them is guilt and shame. So that's a very big block to living our life the way we want to really live, and it stops us from doing a lot of things. So this recording is like a channeled message and also a guided meditation mixed with the energy clearing and alignment. So basically you're listening to it, and the energy is helping to bring all of the patterns that you have around guilt and shame that are currently stopping you, and locating that energy within the body and helping it to release and clear, and also giving you greater awareness and wisdom around how that pattern affects you in your life. So that's really how the audios operate. So that the first one is the guilt and shame. The other really pervasive pattern is the mistrust and fear of others. So when we're constantly in a state of fear or wondering, what's their angle, what do they want from me? It's, basically a state of high suspicion and fear of what others are doing, what their motives are. So as you can imagine, that really, really stops us from doing a lot of things, and it creates a huge amount of stories around why we can't accomplish certain things in our lives. So that's another audio. And then having a negative perspective and viewpoint on life, again, is what I also call the negative goggles. So it's like, if we see our lives and life around us filtered through these negative goggles, we cannot see the infinite possibilities. We can't see the opportunities that are in front of us because it's so filtered and blocked by seeing things as negative, like, oh, this is never going to work out for me. My life is always going to be like this, and kind of being in that state, as you can imagine, stops us from so many things, from looking at life that way. So this energy works to locate the deepest energy around that pattern that you have for yourself specifically, and also to open the awareness so that you can see how the patterns are affecting you and start choosing differently. The next one is judgment of self and others. That's a big one. If we are in a constant state of judgment towards our own actions, the past, what we've done, how we are, we can spin around that forever, as well as, how we see other people, what they're doing, how the world is set up. If we have those filters, they will color everything that we do, essentially, until we can really see it in a conscious manner to be able to recognize when it's happening and choose differently, and also to release our deepest wounds around that pattern. And then the last one, which is really another big one, is and very common for myself and with people I work with, is the perfectionism and control. So if we're constantly, like I said, trying to manage our own self and trying to manage life and control life and stop the flow and slow things down and force things to speed up, and if we're constantly in this state of trying to contract our experiences, then we have a very contracted type of life. So this is a very important one to actually allow us to open up and expand and allow the flow and to go with the flow more easily. So that is the other item, the other audio. So these are all they go very well together, and you would listen to one every week and just allow the energy to unravel, and then you can repeat, and each time it gets to a deeper layer.
Beautiful. Okay. I know that those are just such huge issues that we work on, and judgment, because it is such a big one. When you think about it, everything we do, from smiling at a stranger, is a judgment, right? So this is really, again, another mastery of awareness to get to the last judgment, to the final judgment, no more judgment.
Yeah. I like how you said that.
Well, yeah, thank you for that work. And your special offer is available at acoustichealth.com in the marketplace under special offers. We thank you for that. I know a lot of energy goes into the production of these audios, and then also the personal session with you is just a really deep, customized way to get to the pinpointed issue that people really would like to release.
Yes, you're welcome. It was a pleasure creating these, and I've really, as we do these things for others, we also expand. So it's been an amazing expansion for me to actually tune in and create these and offer them and see, how people are changing and transforming from them. So it's been an amazing journey for me as well.
Yes, we can do it with ease and grace by using tools that assist us, or we can wait until we get kind of bumped along the side when push comes to shove, right? So we'll take the ease and grace.
Yes. I was actually just saying this to someone today. It's one of my favorite sayings is, let go or be dragged.
Right. It's a good one. So let's be in the flow. Well, we have time for, I believe, 2 more at the moment. Let's go on up to Kalamazoo, Michigan, phone number ending in 6350. You are unmuted. What's your name, please? Kalamazoo. Hello. Oh, I think I hear someone. Is that...
They fell asleep.
Your energy has put someone to sleep.
Yeah. Which is good. We actually do our deepest healing when we're sleeping, so that's wonderful.
Oh, that is lovely. Okay, let's go. I think it's Colleen in San Luis Obispo. Hello. Hi.
Hello.
You're not asleep.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Thank you so much, and I can relate. I am chronically tired, and now I'm really dizzy.
Yeah, so this is something that's happened recently?
The dizziness, yeah. It's a new one for me.
Okay, well, I'm going to just tune in for you and see what I get. And also, as I was mentioning earlier, that you have access to this energy that's working right now. So even if you want to breathe it in as we're talking, it's going to help you to receive the messages I'm going to give you. So I'll just tune in and see what I'm getting. So I was directed to your throat, and I was seeing an energy band like around the throat area and hearing beliefs around I'm not able to make people understand. I can't express what I need to say. So it's a lot of frustration around making people understand where you're coming from or who you are, or just being really exhausted in terms of trying to communicate with people. Does that make any sense to you?
Absolutely. It makes sense.
Yeah, so it feels like that is really draining your energy. That's like the biggest energy leak right now, is just the belief around it's only valid if the other person understands you. So that's the belief that we're releasing right now and allowing to clear out of the body, is that all you need to do is speak your truth. All you need to do is show up in the moment and speak from the heart, and that's all you have to do. Whether the person understands you or not is not your job. And if people are not accepting what you're saying, you can just continue to be in the heart and be in your own energy and release the job and the burden and the drain of making people understand. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes. So that's the tiredness, the dizziness. I feel like there's just a lot of energy going through your body right now in terms of you're thinking a lot about what you need to do, and sort of this, I'm seeing like all of these to-dos and what's the word, kind of duties that you have to do, checklists, things that you've got to do, and the energy is just kind of spinning out in your body. So what I would do is just get really clear and go within and ground yourself and ask yourself, what do I need to do right now for my highest good, and let go of all of the other sort of things on your list that aren't as important, and it will help to relax the energy and calm it down. You're kind of just spinning out right now.
You know what? Yes, you're just right on. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's just you only need to do what's in front of you, so don't make it any more complicated for yourself, and just work with the pattern of all you have to do is show up and speak your truth, and that's all you're responsible for, and that should help you quite a bit.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good, Colleen. And we've had reports of dizziness this year, you know, with an expansion of consciousness and dimensions accessible.
Yes.
It gets kind of swirly, as Eleanor said. So, yeah, you know, personally, I found that it was time to slow down when that happens. So enjoy that, and don't let your mind take over, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Because it can, but just stay in the heart. Good advice from Eleanor, speaking your truth from the heart. That's good for all of us. I know personally, recently I spoke my truth, and it was from a loving and compassionate way, not with any heated words. I was very centered, but it was to someone who got really angry at me, but it's okay because we moved through it, and eventually an apology came about. I did work with oh my gosh, the Ho'oponopono and the violet flame and his higher self and my higher self, and it was amazing, the transformation in that relationship. It was okay. It's not so easy to speak our truth, especially if we've shared in past lives that we were killed for speaking our truth, which I recall one. But Eleanor, you said something before our show about past lives and how really that's all here right now. So how do you bring in those past lives and those experiences for healing?
Yeah, so when I do my work, I always have, you know, before every call and before every session and anything that I do, I have the intention that I'm going to facilitate the greatest transformation for somebody for their highest good. And so to me, I trust in Source to direct me to the place where they need to go in order to do that. And from what I've, experienced myself in working with the energies is that we are actually living all our lives simultaneously. And even if we have, an infinite amount of past lives and future lives and all our lives, and basically in the quantum, I guess you can think of it, we are in this moment here experiencing them all simultaneously. So as we heal and transform this life right here and now that we're experiencing, it will reverberate to all of those lives and include a healing for all past and future lives. So I feel like just with the energy I work with, it's simpler and easier and more succinct, I guess, to just focus on this life because we're actually getting to everything that needs to be cleared anyway. So I do have a lot of respect for people who do, past life readings and healings, and it is amazing. But for my work specifically, I'm just directed to focus on this life and more bringing the person into the body. The body is more my thing, yeah.
Yes, beautiful. Okay, well that explains it very well. So thank you for that. All right, and Randy, I see you here, and I would love to answer your question, and then I think we can get to one more, Stacy. So let's go to Randy, because Randy, I was going to do a shout out for you, figuring that you would want to hear from Elinor. So hi, Randy, you're unmuted.
Hello. Wow.
Hi, Randy.
How's my mic?
It's good.
Is it okay, my mic? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for this sensitive opportunity. Okay, I'm learning to regrow my myelin, which everyone says, most people say can't be done. Right. Or at least the establishment, the industries of healthcare say it's impossible. Meanwhile, it's been done. Einstein did it. They're still studying it. I have sensations from demyelination everywhere, like MS or ALS.
Yes.
Except that I recently got MRIs that I have no brain lesions to prove that it's MS. So, if you look at FQAD, look it up. Basically, I'm trying to regrow my myelin, and I always look at it as how's this an opportunity rather than a problem? How's this happening for me rather than to me?
Yes.
Anywhere in that direction. Thank you. I love you.
Yes. Okay. So yes, as I was listening, the first thing that was coming up is that you're, a mystery to the medical establishment. But let me just tune in and see what I'm getting. Your energy is incredibly powerful, and it feels like the way you're showing up in your body right here and now in this lifetime is exactly what I first thought. It's an enigma and a mystery, and you're meant to actually push past the boundaries of what is being known and being shown as possible. So it's almost like you're going to be an example for what can be possible and what can be true. And in terms of softening your own experience and helping you to really expand into this mission, so to speak. Let me just see. On a deep level that you're okay and that you're well in your body, and that even though all of these strange things are happening and you have this goal of regrowing your myelin and all this stuff, you know that you're well on a certain level. So the message for you is to just continue to show other people what is possible by talking about what you're experiencing. So do you have any kind of a podcast or anything where you sort of document your experiences?
Not yet, but I did just get my first GoPro. So that's a learning curve.
You're meant to be sort of a living example and to be a message of hope for people.
Wow.
And so as you do that, as you actually expand your energy is very powerful. It's meant to be, out there more. So the more you expand, the more you share your story, the more your body is going to respond to that. So your healing is going to be in your message. The healing for you is going to be in sharing your message.
Thank you. That's a beautiful reading.
You're very welcome. We can't wait for your podcast.
I once heard a story about Jesus, how he had to go to a neighborhood or lands other than his own where they were used to him, for it to be realized, to be more fully realized.
Yes, exactly.
That's what came to me, to collaborate with your way. And thank you, Olivia.
You're welcome.
Wow, Randy, thank you. I love it because Randy talks with us a lot, and we followed his journey. And Elinor, it's so incredible to hear you confirm what we already know about Randy. He's been called a saint, and I don't laugh at that. I just know it in my heart, and so it's beautiful. So, Randy, I hope this really resonates with you. Did it?
If I don't call it saint training, I might call it something else.
Okay, you're a mystery to the medical establishment. That's how we roll, right?
Let's contemplate the quintessence. The end. Well, what's the quintessence to contemplate? It takes us, it's conceptual thinking, not being limited to linear thinking, the contemplation, and then quintessential. That's the nth degree of what's possible with bringing in, the elements, the essence. The concept. Contemplate the quintessence.
Contemplate the quintessence.
Get that out there. Get that message out there. We're all waiting to hear. So
share it, Randy. Beautiful.
Yeah.
I know. See, this is interesting. It's like our biggest pain becomes the mission.
Yes.
We don't see it when we're in the thick of it. But that's very interesting. Okay, Randy. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy.
So, grace and ease.
With ease and grace. Hugs. Thank you. Okay. Oh, Elinor, it's so fun.
It's awesome.
I promised one more, and so we're going to go to Stacy. All right? Is that good?
Sure.
All right. Stacy, hi.
Hi. Thank you so much.
Hi, Stacy.
Sure.
Hi. My question is, I'm currently going through being unexpectedly, very emotionally, deeply hurt from my daughter, and it's seriously impacting my health. And so I'm wondering how I can process that, or what to do with that, so that it doesn't become a more serious issue for me. Physically, my overall well-being, I guess.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. Yes. Let me see what I pick up on here. So it feels like your daughter is on some level. There's an agreement for her to push you to your limits, to be able to see what you're capable of withstanding, not in a way to make you suffer, but in a way to actually help you, to show you how strong you are. And the transformation is really going to be in seeing that her resistance and some of the things that she's doing or saying is not actually affecting you per se. It's just poking you and bringing you to that place of seeing that you are infinitely stronger than you know yourself to be, because it feels like there's a deep sense of feeling very fragile and very much affected by others, and just kind of hanging by a thread. Does that make any sense?
That makes 100% complete sense. Yes.
Yeah, so she's trying to show you that you're actually, infinitely powerful and a beautiful being of light. It's just showing up in a very strange way. So if you can actually look at it in that sense, and to, even if you do a meditation or a journaling where you talk to her higher self or her, her true self, and have a conversation in meditation about how you see her and that you know what she's trying to do for you, and get into a place of resonance from the energetic and sort of the true self aspect, it's going to change the experiences you're having with her in a day-to-day sense, because it's about getting to the deeper meaning of what this conflict is all about. So you don't have to speak to her directly. I know there's a bit of fear around having to confront her. You don't have to actually confront her at all. I would just go into the deeper sort of a meditation and, like I said, a conversation with her higher self, and do it that way, and you'll find she softens up quite a bit. It will be a lot easier to communicate with her after you do that. Okay.
Yes, thank you, because I don't know what the conflict is, and perhaps I'll find that out while I'm doing the exercise that you told me, because it's kind of impacting the issue, being so kind of like blindsided and not understanding what is the true issue is just making it more difficult. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's just kind of feeling like she's very closed off in the human sense. So to get to the deeper resolution, you need to kind of go into the like a meditation and talk to her on a different level, and to really get into the root of what's going on. And so the biggest thing is that she's helping you in that sense. And in a human way, she's going through a lot, and it's like she's closed herself off. So the best way to reach her is going to be through her higher self and on an energetic sense. And it's also going to help you feel stronger as well. So it's all going to start to make more sense when you do that exercise, and you'll be given the intuitive guidance as to what to do next.
Okay. Thank you so much. That makes total perfect sense.
You're
Thank
so welcome.
you. Okay.
You're welcome.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, Stacy. Okay, well, we have been watching and experiencing Eleanor Healy, a medical intuitive, tune in to her true self and the higher self of others to really get a bead on what's going on in the emotional or the etheric field and then the physical body. Elinor, thank you so much for being here. As we close our circle, I'd love you to just kind of wrap up with anything that our group might need.
Yes, and so thank you, Lorraine. It's been a pleasure to connect with you and with your audience. I really feel such a beautiful expansion and connection to who you've actually brought into your world with the work that you do. So I really want to thank you for what you do. And I know it is quite an undertaking to show up for people and to provide this space. So I'm in gratitude for that and for giving me the platform to speak my message and to live my purpose. And so the message for everybody is just, when it comes down to the simplicity of it, is just figuring out who you are meant to become through your issues. Who are you really here to be? And to get into a place of transforming from, suffering from an illness or an issue and spinning around it and getting into who you're actually meant to become and what you're meant to do through these issues, and it's part of your purpose. So if you can get into an empowered state over your experiences and the things that you have gone through, then you're in self-mastery, which means that you can start to create and live the life that you were truly meant to live. And this is the transformation. It's not being afraid of or being dictated by your illness or your issues. It's transforming through those experiences into who you're meant to be in your highest level of mastery. And I wish everyone many blessings in that journey, and I thank you for connecting with me today.
Well, beautiful. Eleanor Healy, thank you for this quantum conversation, for the source energy coming through this transmission for all of us. We hope that everyone enjoyed this. It was really quite amazing to see how you are so accurate at what you do, and how even in this episode today, people have changed and have shifted. Everyone that we interacted with reports back positive benefits and shifting and clearing from the interaction with you today. So I thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. If you would like a personal session with Elinor and to access the clearing and aligning audios that she has created, please check out the special offer button. It's available on this webpage as well as at acoustichealth.com in the marketplace under special offers. Again, thank you so much, Eleanor Healy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to this quantum conversation, and thank you for dancing with us to the cosmic heart. As we raise our own vibration, we raise the vibration of the planet. This show is dedicated to you and all awakening hearts, as we are here to shine our bright light and amplify our love. Access all quantum conversations, special offers from our guests, and online healing retreats by visiting acoustichealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and from my sacred heart to yours, I honor your magnificent love and light. We leave you now with music from the universe. Music literally created by the universe, as musical notes were assigned to mathematical equations. The result is this beautiful music, available at acoustichealth.com. Namaste.